Hey everybody, my name is Ethen Ostroff. I'm a personal injury lawyer with the Ostroff Law Firm. My goal is to make sure that your future personal injury case is protected and you don't get behind the eight ball in a way that's unnecessary. So today, what we are talking about is how to calculate pain and suffering compensation. It's an area that a lot of jury members struggle with. It's an area that a lot of people struggle with. I'm going to give you a breakdown of how you can calculate what someone deserves in their personal injury case. Before I get to that, make sure to hit that subscribe button where I'm going to make sure that your future personal injury case is protected and that you don't get put behind the eight ball with an insurance company trying to settle your case for less than you deserve. So let me pull my list up here. A couple of pieces here. So the first part of the analysis in terms of how to calculate a personal injury lawsuit, and if you are on a jury right now, I totally understand this is a confusing subject. I hope that this can be helpful for you. So all outstanding medical bills and liens and out-of-pocket costs. Let me go through each of those. So let's say that you got in a car accident, you broke your arm. Any medical bills and the actual dollar for dollar amount that you had to spend on either your physical therapy, a surgery, injections, doctor's visits, any out-of-pocket costs for prescriptions and prescriptions themselves, they should be a part of this. Any liens, which is, for example, like let's say you were on the job when you got hurt. Your workers' compensation may have paid for some of these benefits and they are entitled to get paid back at least a percentage. All of that should be a part of step one, which is out-of-pocket costs, medical bills, liens, and sort of the medical and dollar for dollar amount. Next, loss of income. Let's say that that person that got hurt, they could not work for 10 straight months and they made, let's just say $100,000. Let's just go for an easier evaluation. I'm a lawyer, I'm not a mathematician. Let's go a year. You're out for work for a year, you make $100,000. You know, that $100,000 doesn't just fall out of thin air. That's a serious amount of money that that person just lost because of this crash or this fall or this dog bite. Loss of income is a real part of your analysis when you're calculating damages in a pain and suffering type of situation. Next, loss of life's enjoyment to you. Now, this is the type of situation where it is totally subjective. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I'm going to have you try to put yourself in the shoes of the plaintiff who is claiming that they're hurt from a crash or from a fall or whatever. How much to you is it worth going and playing basketball 3 times a week? How much to you is it worth going on 3 ski trips every winter? How much to you is it worth going for a run every day, going and seeing your kids, getting out of bed? Enjoyment of life is sort of like the activities of your day-to-day life. So when they say, I used to play basketball 3 times a week, I used to go rollerblading 4 times a week, I used to go bike riding 3 times a week, and I couldn't do those things for 6 months, the way that I would probably approach it would be, what in a dollar amount are each of those things worth to you that you would pay if you were going to do those things? So would you spend $200 a day to go biking? Some people would spend $1,000 a day to go biking. There's no real perfect answer for that, but in terms of how you calculate it, think about each of those things and how important those things would be to you if you were the plaintiff. And when those things that you're so passionate about that get you out of bed every morning, that you can't do those things, how much money would you have to spend to get those things back? That's sort of how I would look at that. Next, pain and suffering. Pain and suffering. One day you feel like yourself. You're a 10 out of 10. You go for a walk and you get hit by a car when you're crossing the street. Now you broke your leg, you broke your arm, you broke your hip, you got a concussion, your brain is bleeding, and you are literally in more pain than you've ever been in. How much is that worth? The actual pain and suffering. Is there a dollar figure you can put on that? If somebody died really quickly, the pain and suffering actually might be less than somebody that survived and was a paraplegic, and they have to deal with pain every day. So really, pain and suffering, it depends on the facts. It depends on how long they even stayed alive sometimes, because honestly, if you get hit by a car and you die instantly, pain and suffering is kind of low. You didn't really suffer. I mean, you might have lost a lot of life's enjoyments. You might have lost a lot of future income, but the actual pain and suffering might have been really short. But if you have to live with this actual pain, how much if you were in that person's situation, would you pay to stop having that pain, to stop having that back pain, to have your hip fixed, and to be able to walk to the bathroom in the night? There's not really a perfect answer for it, but how much would you pay to not have that pain that that person's going through? Next, loss of spouse enjoyment. So imagine that you are at home and you had that same incident. You're walking across the street, you break your hip, you break your arm, you break your back, and now your spouse has to do everything around the house. Let's say that they didn't used to go pick up the kids. Now they have to go pick up the kids. Let's say that they used to be able to work an extra shift. Now they can't do that. Let's say that they used to enjoy going running, but instead of going running, they have to take care of you while you're in bed and you can't move. The spouse is also a part of this, and the things that have changed in their life are also a part of this case because it all happened to everybody. Just because one person got hurt doesn't mean other people didn't get hurt. So the spouse is a part of your calculation. And then last, and this doesn't always apply, but when it does, it should apply really hard. Does the defendant need to be punished for what happened? Does the defendant need to be punished for what happened? Let's say that that driver that hit that person walking across the street was wasted and texting, and it was on camera, and everybody saw what happened. They got out of the car, they're tripping and falling, and they just threw up because they were so drunk. Does that person need to be punished for what happened? That is a part of this calculation. So to go over it again, all outstanding liens, medical bills, loss of income. What is your loss of life's enjoyments, pain and suffering, spouse suffering, and the punishment on the defendant? If you have any questions, I hope you're never going through something like this. My name is Ethen Ostroff. I'm a personal injury lawyer. I represent people who are hurt and not at fault across the country. Click below for a free case evaluation and make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much.